I'm going to ask you a question. I do it every week. I put out a video and I tell you a little bit about my caregiving experience. But this time, I'm going to get a little bit more personal. And I hope you join me on this new episode of Chattin It Up with CJ. So what could I possibly discuss that I haven't discussed already? Well, of course, there's something about me. It's always about me. Have you figured that one out yet? Honestly, a month ago, I celebrated 38 years of sobriety. Now, sobriety could be taken any type of way that you can imagine. But my drug of choice was a nice little white powder. And, yeah, I'm not proud of that time in my life, but I didn't know how to cope with life. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that 38 years ago, I would lay down that part of my life and change it drastically and be on a trajectory that I never expected to happen, but I did. I gave my life over to Christ. He put me on a path that I didn't expect, and I haven't regretted any of it since then. I can't tell you that it was easy, that it wasn't fun, because it was fun, the using part. I'll be the first to admit, sin can be fun. Doing bad things can be fun. It doesn't mean it's right. It's just like all the things that we do in life. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I'm sharing this with you because my clean date is January 23rd, 1988. What got me to go into rehab? I got to see life. I woke up. I saw things I didn't want to see. Yes, it had to deal with violence. Yes, it had to deal with some really uncomfortable things that I was witness to. And it kind of shook me up thinking, this is not who I am. But I sure am heading that way. I'm at a crossroad that I need to figure out, where do I want to go from this point forward? Do I want to continue down this path? Or do I want to make my life better? What is it going to take? Because this is just a point that you can spiral down. The choice is up to you. And I'll never forget it. Around that time in 1988, Michael Jackson was really big. And I say this because a series of things happened. Ironically, Michael Jackson's #1 hit was Man in the Mirror. I'm going to make a change for my life. I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to make it right. Those lyrics, they really hit me. They hit me hard. And being a musician and someone that respects music, it resonated with me. I didn't want to go in that direction. And I really had to get down to the root of the issue. So what does this have to do with caregiving? It's all about making a choice. You have choices. Even as a caregiver, you have a choice to be a caregiver. You have a choice to walk away from it. Some people say, I can't deal with it, and they walk away. Some people say, I feel obligated. I'm going to do this. Or some just say, I want to do this. It took me a while as a reluctant caregiver to accept where I was at and what was before me. But I knew I was a better person than I wanted to be. Because sometimes if you follow your feelings on something, your feelings can lead you astray. When I really got down to the root of the issue, I saw who I was. I knew I didn't want to be this person. I didn't want to be a caregiver, nor did I want to be a career drug addict. I had to make a choice. And similar to grief, when you lose a loved one, especially in caregiving, you lose a lot of things in the process of getting into that better place. In caregiving, you lose your loved one, you lose your life. There's a lot of things that change. And you start to get down to the raw root of who you are and who that person is and really what reality is about. Same thing happens in recovery. You have to find out why you're using. You need to find out what is it that you are trying to numb. In my case, I couldn't function. I couldn't cope. I didn't know how to handle life's issues. I didn't know how to handle things that were within me that were unresolved. But also, what was it that I was being ignorant about? What is it that I didn't want to face? That was a big part of my recovery. I won't get into the detail because everybody has a certain story as to what projected them to go in a certain direction. But in the meantime, I'm spiraling, and that's something that we're all faced with, whether you're a user or not. I'm not an alcoholic, but I do follow that 12-step program because honestly, I don't even think about it anymore. I remember when I first started, it was horrible. It was on me like devil and angel on my shoulder. It's not fun. I felt the same way when I was in caregiving. The devil and the angel on my shoulder. I don't want to do this, but I have to do this. Why am I stuck with this? Same thing in recovery. Well, why am I going through this affliction? Why would God do this to me? I was hating life, And why do I have to lose my friends? Well, maybe because they didn't want to change, but you knew you had to. You know what I used to do just to get my mind clear? I used to do a lot of cross stitch. Me to do needlework? No, but I did. I had a very, very dear friend of mine who used to do that at the place that I worked at. And I realized that I needed to stay focused to be able to do cross stitch. It was like a mental thing for me. If I couldn't focus and couldn't do my cross stitch and do it cleanly, I knew I was preoccupied with stinking thinking. And I had to put the cross stitch down and I had to figure out what is it that's bothering you. It was the same thing with caregiving. If I was irritated or if I was irritable, I needed to do, I had to stop what I was doing, take time for myself and figure out what is it that is in your head that's causing you to feel or behave a certain way. I had to condition myself a different coping mechanism. I had to understand me and what was happening. Recently, a dear friend of mine said, I got something for you. And I'm like, good God, what is it now? See this lit up thing right here? This is what they call a Nook book. It's completely made of wood. It's lit up. It's got electrical in there. And they're little pieces of wood that simulate an entire studio with 2 stories and furniture, and it's all musical themed. And it's all made of wood. And it took a very long time for me to do. But it was the same thing as a cross stitch. She gave it to me because after caregiving, you realize things in your life start to change. The way you cope with things. You start to evaluate what is important to you and what's not. You're basically starting a life over again because there's so many things that change during caregiving, but even after caregiving, you see how your life has changed. Once you're a caregiver and you've been in the trenches, it changes you forever. You start to look at life differently. And for me to do that thing, yeah, I kind of did it the same way I did the cross stitch. I only touched it and was able to get through it when I realized that my mind was clear and I was focused. The minute I knew that I couldn't concentrate or I made mistakes, I realized it was because I was thinking about something else. And quite honestly, I haven't met one human being that can multitask those different levels and do good quality things. Eventually, a spinning plate will drop if you don't clear your mind. I said in the beginning, on January 23rd was my anniversary. This is my 38-year chip. It's my reminder. I've come a long way. I no longer think about the issues that bothered me. I no longer think about anything. I handle my recovery a certain way, but I also remember where I came from. No one else really remembers it, but I do. And I remember how my life changed when I decided to go for this. And I hold it to my heart every single year. I've come a long way. And even back then, when I was in recovery, my life was changing. Some people were no longer my friends. Some people came back into my life, and some people left again. But I have grown wiser. I mean, that was when I was in my late 20s. My point is, you grow up, and as you evolve into the human being you are today, it's like going through a refining process. You can get through this. Whether you're in recovery, whether you're in caregiving mode, or you're surviving the loss of something deep within yourself, you will get through this. I always wish you to be blessed and to take good care of yourself. And I'll see you on the next video.
Hey, thanks for watching. And please remember to hit the subscribe button. We are trying to grow our channel and reach 1,000 subscribers. Now, for every new subscriber, these two nutheads right here, they're going to get a treat, so we will all be happy. Thanks for watching.